Hey everybody, Obey the Papaya back at you again with another YouTube video. So this YouTube video is kind of a discussion of what is the meta. So I was thinking of while watching people watch the PCC tournament and all that stuff, right? People were kind of questioning like, oh, what's kind of going on? Why is this so slow when against high level players and all that stuff? And it kind of made me think like, they don't understand the meta, what the goal is, how you should in theory play majority of your games. Now, of course, while playing in solo queue, it's very different than playing in high-level play, but there is a general meta, and the meta is relatively consistent between both, both levels of play. Either it's in casuals, slightly more competitive casuals, and in competitive play. But we'll discuss it. So the meta in games such as first-person shooters and MOBAs refers to the best optimal strategy for a certain weapon, item, or character in matches, right? That's a general definition. And disclaimer, the meta is not set in stone. It is forever changing, especially with updates and counterplay. So you can one trick, be 200 IQ, be an alpha male Mariel offlane monster, and carry every single game. It's possible. It happens. Things like that do happen. So the meta is tend to be more on the safer side of things, more on, it's just the best, the lowest risk for the highest reward, and balancing out correctly to where you're able to always be more rewarded, be able to help the team and whatnot, right? So that's the one thing. So here we said I started with let's discuss the map meta. So real quickly, most junglers, they'll start red due to red buff increase in minion damage. So these are just general tips, some ideas that people should consider, right? These are kind of like what you're going to see when it comes to high level play and what they're going to prioritize and focus, right? You don't see that many, you also don't see that many invades really. The invades tend to be vision. Slightly pointless just because red is usually where they're going to start. All you're really going to get is timers by getting wards down in the area, and then you're going to give the jungler free gold, right, off of them using ward clear the sentry. So it's invades aren't as beneficial unless you're catching a kill and you have like a nice CC comp, a grab, a stun or something. So it's like you're not going to see that much. You're just going to see most junglers are going to start red due to the buff increase for damage. So first, Fangtooth should be looked at being taken at around the 7 to 10 minute mark. It's usually pretty fast, it's pretty instant. Usually right off a kill, they go, dual kill. You go and you take Fang, and you're supposed to, really prioritize your objectives because it's gold. It's not necessarily a benefit of the objective, but it's gold. It allows you to get gold. It also allows you to set up 4 kills, bait the enemy team in, take out the support while they're throwing a ward down, right? So that's what we're going to see in terms of Fangtooth. And then honestly, almost at respawn, you're going to see Fangtooth being taken. Hence why a lot of times getting it in the 7-minute mark allows you to get Primal set up before Prime, sort of. So it allows some leeway. Otherwise, what a lot of people are going to do is they're going to take, they'll take... if Prime is up and they're taking Prime and they have a ward there, the other team's going to take Primal. So you're going to get that little bit of the contest. They're going to contest with each other, right? So getting the 7-minute Fang is very important, and it's very doable in high-level play, and people will do it. So having, vision or just having awareness of the jungler is very important. Popular ward locations. So here I show just the popular ward locations for basically at a minute 47. I discussed this in another video. A minute 47, right? That's when the first objective is usually taken. Sorry, the first blue or red buff is taken is around a minute 47, which is usually when wards are going to be placed. If you're on the left side, according to the map, off lane, it's nice to have a ward in that location, right under 5 camp. Mid lane tends to put one next to 2 camp. Dual lane, dual lane's a little bit interesting in this spot. This is called weak spot. Because you're gonna allow, you're gonna have a lot of gank potential here without the sledge here. So one thing is putting a ward on 3 camp is gonna get you 3 camp vision and a rotation if they come down through Fangtooth, right? It's gonna be hard to get this type of vision here on the left of Fangtooth, right? If you get a vision here, you're gonna watch River in case they take River buff into a rotation. But a lot of junglers will kind of assume this type of play, and that's why it's important with the two having two. The support and duo having 2 vision wards, you can look at putting a ward here to watch your back end, as well as have one run around the entrance. The problem, of course, with right on the entrance or right in this opening here, right, is it's a little bit too close for comfort. When a jungler is there, and you're even in mid, if the support or whatnot is going to stun you and whatnot, which we discussed in the meta picks after this image, you know, you can easily get punished by a jungler. So it's kind of, this is weak side, and it's the same thing if you were to rotate this for duo. It is weak side for for off lane. It is weak side for the off lane. So it's kind of a worrisome play, at least, you know, for the off lane or for the duo when they have this type of position here, which is playing on this side with the openings here, or sorry, this side with the openings here. So Primal is greater than Prime when it comes to team fights, when it comes to straight up in jungle fighting. Primal is very oppressive. It's true damage, so it's gonna beat Prime's resistances. Prime doesn't exist in a way. The benefit of Prime though is you get regen. It will last longer if you have Primal, if you have first Fangtooth buff, and it will allow you to basically, you know, prevent the enemy team from really getting inhibs, because you're still gonna have, you know, you're gonna be able to throw damage onto it. But Prime is oppressive. It's gonna be this. It's gonna help you defend the tower. It's gonna help you apply pressure with lanes, right? But Primal is in theory king. You do not want to fight enemy teams when they have Primal, because it's true damage, and Primal scales based off of in-game time. So no matter what, Primal will always go up. Prime, I believe, scales off of levels. So Prime does have a limit. It has limitations. It's not gonna, you know, it will fall off. Well, it'll limit itself. And 90% of the time, if both junglers are up and near an objective, the priority is on the jungler due to steal risk. So as in, when I say this, it means that the priority is to kill the jungler or to bait a fight. You do not want to focus objective when it's a jungle versus jungle right on the, you know, right on the objective. You're trying to look for a bait. You can burn it. It will happen. You'll see pro players try and burn it. It's a very risky play though, right? You really want to try and kill the jungler because, you know, especially if they have, like, they can come in and exit, right? Then there's very minimal risk. But baiting the objective and trying to get a grab, get a stun on them, you know, not necessarily do that much damage, pretend you're bursting it, that happens often. And it should be the priority is to kill the jungler before taking the objective. Kills over objective in a way to prevent risk, right? So people should not be dying in 1v1s, 2v2s. So as in the dual lane should not look at dying unless, you know, you're getting ganked, basically, if you're getting rotated on. A lot of games in high level play, it tends to be low deaths. It's not very often. The deaths usually come when it comes to objective fights, and that's how it should be, and that's how a lot of people should play, right? So the overall meta, right, in here is that you want to prioritize farm. Farm is key priority. Farm and punishing the enemy from farming. That's what your entire priority, you know, should be. That's what the meta is at this point. Farm is key. XP is key. You know, so that's it for the map meta that we have. The main meta picks. So now, once again, right, these are my opinions, but there could be some changes. These are just the things you're going to see the most often, and you're going to see that some of them aren't often. You're going to see some of them aren't here, like Fang Mao, for example, in the off lane. But it's because the risk to reward that he provides a ton of reward, but there's better, air quotes, better picks to kind of provide CC, provide AoE, provide damage for your damage dealer, provide buffs, and so on, right? So here we got the main meta picks. If you look at, let's start off with off lane. So off lane here, you're going to see it just provides you with a lot of CC, a lot of tankiness. And you're going to see the off lane and jungle share, actually. They share a lot in common. Because right now it is basically a CC slash tank meta, right? It's very strong in CC and tanks. So Greystone, without having much CC, is just annoying as heck, and he's a tank, and he still outputs a really good amount of damage. So hence why he's played in off-lane jungle. He has an escape to leave lane. He has the ultimate to survive a lot. So he's able to, you know, he gets beat up a little bit early, but then he honestly scales really well into late. Kwang, ton of CC, ton of damage. Has escape, you know, has a lot in his kit. Richter, CC, tank, ton of damage. Sevrog, CC, tank, but takes a while to scale up. So a little bit, you know, he's still really good. But he's a bit on the side a bit. It's that ultimate and the root that he has, you know, the potential of it could make a huge outplays. So it's very strong, and a lot of high level players play it. Steel, absolutely busted, broken. You know, a ton of CC, really good damage overall still. And Zars has that CC, that ultimate that locks people down, the agility, the amount of poke he puts on offlaners. You know, so he's down up in the meta. And it's the same thing here in jungle with all those guys. You got Chimera with really strong W key, sustain in the jungle. The CC on the ultimate allows for really good ganks. His current build applies shred. You know, so he's still a monster. He's kind of slightly fallen off due to patches, but he's still very strong, and you could definitely, you know, look at seeing him, you know, in game and being picked up, as he still applies a lot of pressure. Kalari is just insane, especially in high level play. You're limited on the wards you can put in. There's so many gank potential. Her burst is crazy. She's busted and broken, and she is on the list of in my opinion, as a jungle main meta. Rampage coming in very tanky. The Rock is, you know, an entire lane length easily. Anyone that doesn't really have an escape absolutely gets demolished. You know, Rampage can set a lot of stuff up for more CC. He's an absolute monster. And then we got into the mid lane. So we got the Argus, you know, the Argus CC, the range, his relatively safe style of play. You know, he just outputs a lot of damage. So he's still more biased towards the support. His middle is good. It does get a little bit punished though, but it's just because his kit is really strong in terms of the stun and the long range and CC is why he is still in the main meta picks. Gadget, a lot of AoE, safe to farm with, a ton of damage. Because of comms, you can really set up some really solid ults. Gideon, flawless character. Same thing, honestly, with Gadget, where it's just like ultimate does a ton of damage, although like punishable in a way. But with the team, you know, good setups, attack, doing damage through walls. His kit has an escape on it, so it's a pretty easy laning phase. Ton of damage, burst, really solid for rotations. Howitzer, honestly, just a ton of damage, poke, relatively safe due to ult, but if he doesn't have it, then there's a problem. A lot of strong poke. Belka has been a problem for a long time. The lock on ult, the complete burst, absolutely demolishing literally anybody, you know, any squishy character. Doesn't matter if they have mana or not. The CC on the Q is absolutely crazy. You can get 5-man ults, especially with how small the map is and a lot of congested corners and everything. Wraith in a meta pick overall in like pubs and high elo, you know, he's definitely more in the carry when it comes to competitive scene stuff, but he just has the penetration, long range, easy to farm with. The ultimate is absolutely busted when you use it to catch people off. It sets up, you know, other type of other CC on him, so it's monstrous. Here we got the carry. So Drongo applies shred on ultimate, has a silence, a relatively safe laner, outputs a ton of damage, scales off of HP. You know, really good pick overall. Murdoch is a good scaling with just straight physical attack damage, but his ultimate is what's gonna do really good, right? In another lane, he takes a kill, and now he's gonna be ahead of the offlaner. He has pretty good clear. He has a good escape with his E. He's a bit like on edge, I would say, but because of his ability to kind of take kills and secure them, he scales really hard and can apply a lot of pressure. TB, super fast clear, ton of damage. Safe. There's no, you know, two type of builds: assassin build and on hit build. Phenomenal. Wraith is the same thing in terms of middle. So we got our support. We got Argus. Argus has a ton of damage and CC. His escape, of course, is a little bit tough, but if you put wards down, you know, with your carry, it's gonna be tough to really damage Argus support. He's banned all the time in customs or high level play in scrims. He's an absolute monster. Decker is like the, you know, what Argus kind of used to be. Still very oppressive. Not necessarily the burst, but ton of CC. You know, that's basically it. She's just a CC machine, and her range allows her to poke. Right, range as a support is going to allow a ton of poke potential, and lane control. Belka is the same thing as mid, and kind of, you know, matches Decker. Poke, damage, burst, really easy scaling into magic power or support. Narbash heals into late game, and the thunk and the movement speed makes every single person happy. Gets a little bit punished in terms of early, but an overextending duo lane, Narbash gets to have a ton of enjoyment. Phase, one of Professor's most hated characters, and honestly, if they get a Phase on the enemy team, they usually lose. I mean, once you play a Phase, you know how to play a good Phase. She provides a ton of healing to the ADC or the carry, provides a peel, provides stuns for some of the easiest routes to set up for kills. This is a really strong character you know, in all levels of play. Richter, of course, being the hit the hook, you basically get a kill. You know, as a support, he's not gonna have the damage output, and he can also get punished by a lot of these other supports in a way. But if this guy, if you're hitting hooks with him, there's no better support in reality, right? And then Steel, just the amount of pressure he applies in the support lane. His E, where he's able to kind of, break freezes with it, set up freezes, prevent carry and support damage and all that stuff. He's a monster, and people, if you can play that E as a support, his shield wall, he turns into, in reality, he can be the best support in the entire game. He's an absolute beast when played in the right hands, especially in solo queue, honestly. Um, but yeah, so these are my main meta picks. This is my general meta guide that I kind of want to share with PCC kind of running right now to give people an idea of like what to kind of expect with the meta picks, what's going on, you know. And in general, it is my opinion too. So I could be wrong, or I could have a different opinion compared to most people. But it's for fun, kind of share this type of information. So let me know what you think. If you did enjoy, don't forget to let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe for more content. I also stream on Twitch and YouTube, 6 Easternish, 7 Easternish time. But yeah, on that note, take it easy, have a good one, good luck in your games, and I'll catch y'all later.